Hey guys, thanks for taking the time. Let's jump right into it. Can you both share, how you first got involved with this art of a hit, and ultimately, more so, what attracted you to the project? I know you guys kind of have eclectic catalogs, so I'm kind of wondering what was special about this one.
Ronald.
Yeah,
I've known Charlie and Galen, who co-wrote the film together. Galen directs and Charlie co-stars in it for about 10 years. We did a film together called Band Slam years ago.
yeah.
And they basically approached me and were like, we got this script. We're shooting in a 1,000-year-old castle in France. And I was like, great, I don't have to read it. Let's shoot. Uh, so no, and after I read the project, at first I thought they were going to want me to come in and be a day player and be a drummer because I was a drummer in Band Slam. And then I found out that they wanted me to play the lead, and of course I was honored and said yes immediately after reading the script.
And what about you, Rob?
So I've known Ali, who played Kristen, the drummer in this, for a minute through the music scene in Los Angeles at the time. And I got a call. We were in a weird place in the industry, and I'm always looking for people who are excited about making films. And so I had a project in September that I was going overseas for, and then I got to Zoom Charlie and Galen, and I fell in love with the idea of what these guys are doing. It's so nice to have a Zoom with creatives that are excited, genuinely excited. You're not thinking about budget, you're not thinking about days, you're not thinking about this. And when they kind of pitch the idea, especially for Miles, not the biggest thing, but he is this impetus through line of this. I'm like, oh, I've been here. I've been this. The reason I'm an actor is this exact role. And so getting to, then get the script over and read it, I'm like, yeah, you know what? It's my character was only in, I think, a week and a half in France. And I'm like, yeah, a reason to go to France. I was already in Spain. Let's jump off this cliff. Let's have fun, man. It was such a unique genre to read through, where I'm like, we're mixing on two or three things here. You got
Yeah.
psychological thriller, horror, and rock and roll, which is all I heard. I'm like, I don't care about the other ones. Rock and roll, I'm in. Everything else is for the audience. So yeah, man, it was fun. I'm happy I did it.
Awesome. Yeah. And you two in particular had some of the more intense moments. How did you guys develop that dynamic between the two of you and ultimately deliver what we saw on or what we see on screen?
I mean, Rob and I didn't have that much time together. He basically showed up, and then we were shooting the next day, right? Like he showed up and we had dinner, and we were shooting the next day. So we didn't have that much time together. But I have to say, like he just showed up, and like we were a family at that point. We ate all our meals together. There was it was like the cast and crew were a family, and Rob just dropped right in. It was like he'd been there the other 3 weeks. He was just like another piece of the puzzle that we've been waiting on. And you never know, you're always like a little scared when the actor comes on. You're like, how's this going to work? How are we going to work together? And it just felt completely like natural. I was like, oh, this guy's a musician. I mean, he's another drummer. We both play drums, amazing drummer, by the way. And it was one of those things. I was like, oh, this is going to be like, easy. I mean, not easy. He had a pretty hard time with some of the prosthetics, I'm going to say.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
no,
I'll agree. Ryan being an incredible drummer, and there's something about drummers where you just speak a language. You know what I mean? Like you just, we're both quite a bit into this acting career, but coming fundamentally from, being the loudest in the room and maybe not the loudest human. There's some subtext there where you're like, I got you, bro. And so we just kind of dropped into this brother dynamic, and I'm like, let's go create that. Let's drop into that. And luckily the scenes were so well written, and we got to have liberty with that and add in some of the dynamics that we got to know about one another, especially as the project grew with time, where I'm like, I being the newbie in felt like I was sworn in the first hour. And I'm like, it's scary from my side. I'm coming off a plane going, being like, who are these people? And then you get to meet studs. You're just like, we're dropped in being like, all right, let's go. It felt like theater with a camera where I'm like, all right, you're off book, you're all there, but like, let's dig deeper. Let's dig deeper. And then, you have prosthetic on and it's ripping out half your beard and you're like, this is fun for all of us. Like, yeah, it was a special little bonding.
Yeah, awesome. I could definitely agree. It did at times feel like almost like a stage play, just depending on where the scene was. I kind of want to ask a little bit about the original soundtrack, by Jets to Brazil. How did that? I guess this is more of like a question for Ryan ultimately, but like, did you guys like listen to the music prior? I mean, obviously you had to, but like, how did that impact your character or like the overall storytelling, if you will?
I mean, the music just automatically takes you back, right? So like it puts you in that, back in the 90s immediately. I didn't have a lot of time to learn the stuff. I ended up taking some guitar lessons and going rushing in the studio like a couple weeks before flying out and recording all the vocals. So all the tracks are originally Jets to Brazil, but we re-recorded everything. So the vocals
Okay.
are mine. A lot of the guitars are actually Tim Joe, who plays the guitarist in the film. I think Charlie played a lot of some bass on it, and actually did some backing vocals that I wrote. Thank you very much. So it was definitely something that like I was forced to be engulfed in, but was great because it immediately took you there. I remember like immediately, not much later, it was the end of the year, and it was like, your favorite Spotify artist was Jets to Brazil. You played it 20,000 times over the last month. So yeah, no, it was awesome that we got to use, the music first off, because it's, some great tracks. But yeah, easy to drop in when you have stuff like that.
And Rob, you kind of touched on this a little bit. There's a lot of like blending of genres, horror and music. It doesn't really always work. And when it does, I mean, it's typically through like a comedy lens. There's a lot at play here. And, I'm wondering if maybe it was a little difficult to kind of approach those two elements, like you said, kind of fish out of water, jumping into a crew that's already kind of established in a way.
So no, I don't think you can play genre. So from my side, my objective is just to be this musician who's on a trajectory up, right? And in that, we all know, I think Ryan and I specifically, you come into this industry hot with said project and you're like, what else? And you start navigating through different roles and seeing what you got until you land what makes sense. And in that, I think with any artist, they tend to go back and have things haunt them or elevate them, and whatever your goal is. And in this, I related to the script where I'm like, oh, that all sounds scary, but it only sounds scary if I'm holding on to the idea of yesterday. And so that to me is what all the other elements. I'm like, that's the magic of the film industry. What I know is the human side of this, which is like, I joined this to go there, and I'm not going to have anything hold me back. And with that, that's scary. You have to make a decision. That's the fear of it, right? So with understanding the guy being in those shoes before, I'm like, oh, this is just fun. This is like a conversation I had 15 years ago with a band I played in. Let's keep going. And so everything else was really fun to jump into, to be honest. I've never really done anything like this, to be like, let's put prosthetics on, let's throw some blood on. But like, is that really what this is about? No, it's about the haunting element behind the person.
Yeah.
Okay, I can get into that.
Yeah, I kind of compared it to almost like a rock and roll shining, if you will. And I really like what you said there about kind of like it's about almost like looking forward or like not even like thinking about the genre, just kind of playing the role. And speaking of that, I guess to kind of wrap up, going full circle, Rob, you've been widely recognized for your role in Riverdale. I can't not mention it because my whole family watches that show, and then also too, Ryan, got the OC here royalty as well. Did these roles? I know that they're a little bit different because they're like television roles, but and a movie is like you kind of are there a little bit different of an effort. Did any of these experiences doing those roles kind of play into Art of a Hit or even your character?
Um, it's a great question. I think no. I think if you have the blinders on in this industry, number one thing that I find artists forget is gratefulness. And if you get, your toe in the door of this industry, you're already miles ahead. Look, I think both Ryan and I have been to school with many actors that are probably better than us that have never had the shot into this. And music is different. Music, I can play in front of 5 people or 5,000. It's not going to matter. I'm playing music. Acting is very strange, where it's like you got to get cast, you got to do the work, you got to schmooze, and you got to do this. With that, I'm extremely grateful for that chapter of my life, and then how I've been able to manage it to be like, okay, well, now I'm in this. What do I want to say? And, as you grow into this, you start to find, what am I in this chapter of my life? What can I bring? What do I want to say? And, we're the visual medium of storytelling is a pretty powerful one. And so something like this, where you get to throw back into your music career, the fundamental thing that both Ryan and I started this whole thing with, is like, oh my God, yeah, man, like I want to be that guy. I want to bring attention to, like, if there's kids out there watching this film, they're going to be scared, but also they might be in the place of their life where I'm like, I'm about to elevate and my bandmates are not. I should take this chance. I should take this shot. Like it's why I came into this, put the blinders on and keep going, and it's a ladder. This is a giant ladder to climb. Even at the top, it's a giant ladder to climb. So that's my side.
Awesome.
I mean, he said it better than I ever could. Yeah, I think, yeah, like you said, each thing is a step. I don't know how much I take from any other character I've done for the next one. I try to just create a whole different person to embody, and as far as putting blinders on, put blinders on as far as I can't see anything else except for this vision of who this person is, and being real within it, so each character is different, and it's, the beauty of this film really is that we got to play and be real in it. And a lot of the stuff that we did on our VMAs day, Rob and I, we played with that scene over and over, and it before we just finally were like, that's it, that's it. And it didn't take all day. It wasn't like we did 87 takes or anything. It was, we ran it a couple times. We figured out some things that were working, some things that weren't working, and then once we found the scene, we really played with it, and this is our third day meeting. And I was like, okay, this is how it's going to work. Like, this is working right now. This feels so real. And it's because we've both been in bands. We both had that thing. We've both, had the push and pull of whether we want to be commercial or be underground rock or whatever it is, right? We've all had those kind of back and forth in the music industry. And as soon as I saw that and we tried that scene, I was like, this is real. This is going to work, So yeah, I think approaching each character with a new light is my goal.
Awesome. Well, I definitely appreciate your time. And to prepare for this, I did enjoy kind of looking back and seeing, that you guys were musicians. I thought that was fantastic that they not only worked really well on screen. And so kudos to you guys, and kudos for them for casting you, because I think that was ultimately is what is going to kind of propel this film and make it that much more successful. So thank you guys. Appreciate your time. And I'll see you in the next one.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Of course, guys.
Nice meeting you.